All right, football season's here. It's that time of year. Summer's over, Labor Day is come and gone, and it is time for football. College football just kicked off. As most of you know who watch this, I'm a big Michigan fan. 1-0, ready to go. Excited to be watching them. Hopefully have a championship year. We'll see how that turns out. And now the NFL gets ready to kick off. So I think Thursday night this week it kicks off, and then a full slate of games on Sunday. If you don't know, I'm also a big Steelers fan. Go Pittsburgh. So, quick story. People always want to know how to become such a big Steelers fan. I grew up an hour north of Detroit, and back in the 70s, I'm going to date myself a little bit, when NFL stadiums didn't sell out before Thursday at midnight, they would black out the games on local TV. There wasn't cable then. You had like 3 channels, and they wouldn't show the home team. And so the Lions were not very good in the 70s, kind of like they are now. No big comment on that. But so half their games were never on TV. But there was this team in black and gold that was on TV what seemed like every week. I love the uniforms. I love the players. Terry Bradshaw, Franco, Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, who's my all-time favorite. I started watching them, fell in love with the Steel Curtain. They won a couple Super Bowls, and away we go. All this time later, I'm a huge Steelers fan. So on that note, people ask me, because I know I'm a big culture guy, what my thoughts are on Antonio Brown and the Steelers trading Antonio Brown over the offseason. And so a couple things. One, I'm really bummed because I was a big Antonio Brown fan. He went to my alma mater, Central Michigan. He did great there. He was awesome for the Steelers. However, the last couple years haven't been so awesome. Was stat-wise, but just didn't like the behavior that I was seeing. And, of course, you all know the story culminated at the end of the season last year where he didn't play in the last game. Now, I'm not an insider there. I only know what I see and read and hear. But I've seen enough and read enough, and on Twitter seen enough that I'm glad they traded him. So at Service Express, I have what we would call a no prima donna rule, right? So I don't want anybody who puts themselves before the organization. We all have egos here, but our egos are for the company, for building a great company, for being team players, and helping everybody we work with achieve their goals. And I tell our employees this all the time. I don't care how much you sell. I don't care how great you are at service. I don't care if you're a financial wizard. I don't care about any of that if you treat people terrible, only care about yourself. It's all about you, and you wreck the culture. At that point, you have to change or you have to go. I think people like that will absolutely kill your culture, and when you kill your culture, it will affect everything else, and ultimately will kill your organization. And so I hate that it turned out that way, but for the team that I root for, I'm glad that they traded him. I was in favor of him being traded and going forward from there. And so I run the company the same way. You just saw my blog recently about Weed Your Garden. This is part of weeding your garden, okay? And it's the tough call. It's easy to talk about, but when you have a performer, a top performer in whatever department you have, but they're killing everybody else or treating everybody else poorly, and it's all about them, in my opinion, no one person is greater than the overall organizational good. You got to weed your garden. You got to get that person's a weed, and you have to make that move for the betterment of everybody else that works with them. That's how we run Service Express, and I'm glad to see that's how the Steelers run their team. So let's hope that's a championship year this year. I'm looking to change the name from Sixburg to Sevenburg, which doesn't sound as good as Sixburg, but the number 7 sounds a lot better than number 6. So good luck to all your teams this year, and go Steelers.